So currently we are at the Metro Health Directorate, where the vaccination is also ongoing just behind me. We are very fortunate to have the Metropolitan Health Directorate, Dr. Sally Quote, here to give us some few explanation with regards to what has been going on and what they are going to do to make sure that everybody here in Tema gets a dose of this Johnson & Johnson. Very good afternoon to you, and you are welcome to GBC News.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, so how has the process been? When did you take off, and how has it been entirely for you here?
But the process has been smooth. This morning we started rolling out the vaccination. People were here very early. We've started. We have enough vaccinators. We have entry officers. We have enough doses of the vaccine available also for now. So if you look behind us, you see there are different groups, those who are getting vaccinated, those who are having their data entered into the system. At a vaccination, people have to sit for about 10 to 15 minutes to ensure that they are fine before they move off. We are doing all that. So I must say that all in all, it's been successful this morning.
Yeah, so in all, how many doses of Johnson & Johnson have we received, and how are we going to disperse that to the various centers?
All right, so we received about 24,000 doses. Yes, and we are supposed to vaccinate about 23,000 people. So we know that there will be enough for the target population, or target number that we are supposed to vaccinate. Yes.
Looking at the numbers that are coming in, what's your impression? Are you impressed with the numbers that are turning out for this vaccination?
Yes, we are very impressed, and we are happy also. Looks like people really now they want to have the vaccines, and they're very interested in it, and we are very happy. We are actually very happy to see so many people turn up. And everybody is also calm and composed. As you can see, no one is fighting, it's not chaotic, everybody is calm, are taking the vaccines, and then thereafter, once all the documentation is done, they go their way.
Yeah, so we want to find out from some observers who have also come through, like the World Health Organization. We want to find out, as a partner, what have been your observation going through the process and being here to see those people?
Thank you. Stanley Diamano is my name. I work with WHO. I have been assigned to support the Tema Metro with a team. This morning, this is the second point I have visited. I was at the General Hospital where I observed two teams. In fact, the crowd there is very large. People have come out in their numbers, and there is orderliness. We are quite impressed that people have understood the process, and the community response is very encouraging. Now here also you can see the order in which things are going on. You can see that the crowd is very heavy, and people are anxious to take the vaccine. And we are impressed. And we are saying that it should continue as it is, even though what has come out may not be enough to reach everybody. But we are expecting more vaccines to come in as the days go by. And we are assuring the community that it is free and it is safe. If somebody wants to charge, please let them quickly report. Otherwise, it is safe, and it is only one dose for this one. And it's going to continue. If it continues in this spirit, then we'll be heading somewhere. So that is my impression.
Thank you so much. So one thing I have also observed and have also heard from this particular center is that originally when you go to other centers, you enter your data before you take the vaccine. But here, you take the vaccine, then you enter your data, and it's making the process a bit faster here. So I'm sure if other centers can also learn from what this center is doing. And so reporting from the Tema Metro Health Directorate here in Tema, my name is Michael Dewanu.
With COVID-19, health experts have warned that the recovery will not be achieved if citizens do not adhere to the COVID-19 protocols. GBC News has been sampling the views of a section of the public on the level of compliance.
Recently, I overheard some of my colleagues saying that 2-3 people have died out of blood clots. And one BNS confirmed that it is true. That is why those informations I had a short while ago prevented me from vaccinating.
A few minutes ago, there's a policeman passing with the horses. They make it a mandatory that if you don't put it, they will place a punishment on you. You understand? So to avoid that punishment, I have to put it on. I'm not putting it on because there is a COVID or no COVID. I'm putting it on because of the punishment that I will serve. You understand? Simple.
Yeah, I've taken Johnson & Johnson, both of them, the first shot and the second shot. Yeah, that one I can say people have to worry because, let's say for instance, you are in a funeral somewhere there is so many people. You don't know who is sick and you don't know who is coming with it. So once you are around many people, please, you have to take care and, you worry.
It's answer. About for no you say blofo ni nyina o mo hihye we bi. Na so na no Saturday kura start premiership yi. You say park aye ma na so no obi a hye bi. Nti ya bi before na sabi meti hei da bia ye tese ye se obi anya bi. But ye wona fofo ne anuanum bebre me nti so obi abeka chem se ni nua bi anya bi da. Enti me de ya na ye metrimu nya kakra. Me nyi ni se covid bia ho. We de mo beto so say ye hwe video bi e wo Uganda. Say o massa light your friends say nipa egu bebre so mo kwesie covid patients ni bi. And so omo koy manfo no rush call adaka no ho no. Adaka omo gesi omo say ntomago na gum mo enye nipa enegum. Ana fo no so ahihye gina what say the covid no ewom. Etina sentina da bi no mo da nkrofo no ana say ewo ho.
Yeah, it's because I'm in my house privately. Yes, that's why. Always use the nose masks, and COVID is real.
Sometimes you put on the AC, and I'm wearing nose masks. It's kind of more especially when you've got a little bit of asthma in your blood. So you just have to be careful not to wear it all the time.
My colleague Nana Echan Abuaje has been following that development, and she joins me in the studio to tell us more of what she gathered when she went out. Aside what we heard from those who just granted the interview to you, what more are we learning on the streets?
Yeah, actually, I went to Osu, and Osu, my observation, you could see we have a lot of companies over there. They had some kind of the vertical buckets with water to wash your hands, and there are some banks over there that they don't have it, but before you enter the bank, they give you sanitizer before you can operate or go for your services. But with the shops who are selling, trading over there, most of them were not having all these safety protocols. And I was just asking them, they were like, customers come and they're having sanitizers and nose masks. We saw people not wearing the nose masks. At least it's better when we went to Osu than to Accra. It was so bad that a lot of people were not adhering to the safety protocols. They still have this primitive mind that there's no COVID. And they say that authorities should show us pictures, videos, whereby they are going to bury a COVID patient. You know, we just chanced on a video, it was just played in a while ago, that in Uganda, authorities were going to bury COVID patients. And when they opened the casket, it was just cloth in it. So now it's still having some kind of...
The level of misinformation.
That's it.
And that's further points to the authorities that we need to intensify the sensitization, because more than a year after COVID-19, the number of deaths, the number of people that have suffered from this disease, people are still of the view that COVID-19 is a hoax.
Yeah, I think we need to do more of education. We need to educate the public about COVID and its effect. When we do more of this education, it's going inside their minds, as in to believe that there is COVID, so that they go on with the safety protocol. Because people still have this mindset that there's no COVID.
Charlie, do you notice security personnel where you visited ensuring compliance to the protocols?
Not at all. I didn't see any personnel enforcing people to adhere to the safety protocols. But at least we saw some personnel wearing nose masks, at least to motivate other people. But the thing is, we need to educate the public to understand that COVID is real. And I asked people whether they've taken the COVID vaccine or the jab. They said no. I asked them why. They said they didn't even hear anything. That means that the education level is really low in the country. So we urge our authorities to do more of education, to psych people to engage themselves into the giant. And I know that they are starting to today. And when I spoke to a lot of people, they don't even know that the jabs are even in, and people are taking. So I just pointed out some few areas to them, and I told them to watch the television always or news, to listen to the news, but also urge our authorities to do more of education to help curb this problem in the country.
Thank you for this update. Nana Ichan Abwaji is our correspondent, and she's just joined with some more details about the level of adherence, compliance as far as the COVID-19 safety protocols are concerned. Moving on, the Labour Court in Accra, presided over by Justice Frank Roxin Abwaji, has awarded 3,000 against the University Teachers Association of Ghana, UTAG. This was after lawyers of UTAG failed to comply with Section 20, Clause 4 of the High Court rules. UTAG has since August 2021 been on strike, and effort by the National Labour Commission to have them rescind their decision has proven futile. Let's go for a quick break. We'll be right back. We're bringing you details about what transpired in courts in the case of UTAG and the National Labour Commission. But before that, Ghana closed its borders with neighboring countries when COVID-19 cases soared in 2020. The situation remained the same until the recent rise in cases. But how secure are our borders with the surge in COVID-19 cases and now the emergence of the Marburg virus, which can also spread from human to human? Correspondent Samuel Ayama is on the phone to tell us the security situation along the borders in the Upper East region. Samuel, this afternoon. Early in the COVID-19 pandemic, Ghana's response was hailed as one of the best among the African countries, in particular its innovative testing approach. However, a concerning upward trend of new cases, partly fueled by the Delta variant, and deaths has been observed till date. Community-level transmission appears to have significantly spiked, concurrent with lapses in contracting tracing and in contact tracing, and non-adherence to the safety protocols. Dr. Vincent Fadalimensa, a senior lecturer at the Department of Social Studies, University of Education, Winneba, joins us on the phone for some discussion on this matter. Dr. Jalimensa, thank you so much for your time this afternoon. Doc, can you hear me?
Clearly.
Doc, glad to have you this afternoon. It appears the much praised efforts by the Ghanaian authorities to manage COVID-19 has gone awry. Is this a description you give to the current developments as far as the rise in infections and the fact that we are having constraints in vaccine supply, which may erode the gains that we made earlier?
I think that first, I thank GBC for taking this issue up, and I think that it will be useful if the state authorities listen. I think Ghana has done very well in terms of managing the COVID initially, but it seems that now we are losing the fight because we are all becoming a bit, if I will choose the word carefully and advisedly, a bit irresponsible in the way we are managing the COVID. We will see that citizens are not following the protocols. We are not wearing the masks. Public gatherings are happening despite the laws that we have passed. The danger is that we are risking the security of this country because the kind of facilities that other nations have and yet have struggled to manage COVID when it overwhelmed them, we do not have a quarter of those facilities, and it will be a disaster if that happens here. But I think that from the presidency through to all of us, it seems that we are all failing to observe the rules, and that is why we are where we are today.
Dr. Ejali Mensah, we've been told, in fact, as a matter of law, that we can't be visiting places like pubs, beaches, and that stuff. But we are not seeing people adhering to this directive, and the security forces appear to be not helping the situation by enforcing the regulation.
So what will the security services do when the ministers, from the presidency through the ministers to the district chief executives, everybody is organizing functions? Look at what happened at the funeral of the late General Secretary of the MPP. Look at what is happening across the country. State officials are attending the functions and are honoring those invitations. What will the police do? They will have to, if you cannot arrest the ordinary people, when the political authority, the political class that made the laws themselves are breaching the law. And you see, this is one clear case of leadership by example. So I think that government functionaries are those who should take responsibility for what we are witnessing. The beaches are supposed to be closed, but people are going. The bars are supposed to be closed, but people are going. And everywhere people pass through Accra in the evening, you see people gathering at some places, having fun and all that. Because the people in authority, in this case, I'm sorry, are not leading by example. And that is the cause of the problem. I think that there is little the security services can do at this point in time, because they have to arrest everybody, and then that will be a problem.
Dr. Ejali Mensah, looking at the consequences and what one could be getting himself or herself involved if you contract COVID-19, it raises the issue of collective responsibility. So people will also have to be responsible on their side to adhere to the protocols, so that the effort by state authorities in terms of vaccination and so on can be complemented. But we are not seeing people adhering to that. In fact, our cameras were out this afternoon, and the level of compliance is very low.
I think you mentioned the case of collective responsibility, which is important, but I think at some point the president said something that we should take our own health into our own hands. I would say that individuals should have personal responsibility for their health at this point in time. Because if nobody is adhering to the protocols, then you have to protect yourself. You have to wear the mask. You have to keep away from the public gatherings. You have to keep away from the places where you can be at high risk. You have to make sure that you wash your hands and keep safe. Individuals have to take their health into their own hands now. They have to take their safety into their own hands now. Families have to ensure that they educate their family members to keep safe and to keep out of trouble. Churches have to educate their church members to keep out of trouble. Schools have to educate their students to keep out of trouble, because it looks as if the state mechanism that was established, including the laws that we have passed by ourselves, we have failed to make those mechanisms work. We have failed to make the laws work, because those who made the laws were the first to break the laws. So because of that, what every Ghanaian should do at this point is to take your health seriously. Because but for the state authorities and policy makers, I'll tell them, it is not too late to go back to our rules, because when it breaks loose, we will not be able to manage it.
We're glad to have you this afternoon. Thank you so much for speaking with us, Dr. Ejali Mensah. Dr. Ejali Mensah is a senior lecturer at the Department of Social Studies, University of Education, Winneba. Moving on to further its agenda to promote science, technology, engineering and mathematics, STEM education, the government plans to build 11 state-of-the-art senior high schools across the country. Director of Tertiary Education at the Ministry of Education, Dr. Eric Nkansa, said these schools will be equipped with laboratories comparable with the best in the world. Dr. Eric Nkansa was opening the 5th edition of the University of Energy and Natural Resources STEM Festival in Sunyani.
The STEM Festival of the UENR is to promote the study of STEM programs by JHS and SHS students at the tertiary level. For the 2021 edition, 50 junior and senior high schools from the Ahafo, Bono and Bono East regions, consisting of about 2,300 students, participated. The organizers mounted exhibitions by departments of the UENR like the Basic and Applied Biology, General Sciences, Forest Science, Horticulture and Crop Production, and Computer Science and Informatics. The Vice Chancellor of the UENR, Professor Elvis Asari Bediako, said in response to government's plans to promote STEM education, the UENR is putting up a multi-purpose STEM center that would carry out research and introduce innovations to address the shortfalls in scientists and engineers in the country. He therefore appealed to governments for support to put up the STEM center. The Ministry of Education's Director for Tertiary Education, Dr. Eric Nkansa, deputized for the sector minister, said the ministry is rolling out educational reforms anchored on STEM. He said the reforms will prepare the critical mass of Ghanaians for the fourth industrial revolution. Dr. Nkansa said 11 model state-of-the-art STEM SHSs are to be built across the nation, 2 for Akrode in Ahafo and Kwase in Bono.
Let's move to the Upper West region, where the Roads and Highway Minister, Mr. Kwesi Amoako-Attah, is currently in the region to have first-hand information on the devastation of roads caused by floods days ago. Mr. Amoako told GBC News that the government will mobilize available resources to fix the roads and restore economic activities in the area. Regional correspondent Salah Abdul Wahab is on the tour with the minister and joins us on the phone with some details as far as the tour of the minister is concerned. Salah, can you hear me? Yes, Salah, what has the minister been up to since his arrival in the region?
Well, when he arrived at the airport, first of all, he briefed the media on what he had seen on television and heard on radio about the situation concerning the destruction of roads by rain in the region. And he said that the government is determined to fix the roads. And the government is not just going to fix the road, but they will be fixed on time. And so we went on a tour in a helicopter to Tisala East, Kafiamo Buse Isa, Wa East, Nadole Kaleu, Laura, and the part of Wa. And the minister has seen for himself the devastation the rains caused to both highways and feeder roads. And when we came back, he just finished briefing the media. And what he told us is that he is overwhelmed with what he has seen. Though he has already been briefed on the situation, but seeing it himself, he is overwhelmed, and that he will marshal all resources available within the shortest possible time to have those roads fixed so that the region can start its economic activity. So the assurances is that he has been instructed by the president to treat the situation as a national situation and as an emergency. And as I said, he will treat the situation of the region in that capacity.
Salah, we've seen farmlands submerged by the floods, and I was wondering if there is any sort of compensation to these farmers. The minister may have said something in that regard, but is there any timeline?
Well, there's no timeline. Indeed, as we speak now, the other agencies, the Department of Feeder Roads, National Customer Organization, they have still not been able to reach out to people who may have been affected. And this is so because they don't have the information now, apart from their district directors calling to tell them this and that has happened at it. They have not gone there themselves to see because of the nature of the rules. But now that the water has receded, I believe this week they will be able to visit the affected areas to see things for themselves so that the necessary assistance that they need will be given to them. And the minister also said that when he was touring the district, he saw many farms under water, and that the minister, the sector minister, that is Agri Minister, may also have to visit the region to see what can be done to ameliorate the suffering of farmers who have been affected by this. But as we speak now, we don't have information about how many people have been displaced, how many farmlands have been destroyed, and what are they doing to address their challenges. Another information we have picked up is that some drivers have started charging more than the approved fare. In fact, I understand from here to Laura, it used to be 25 Ghana, but some are charging 50 because they have used a different route which is longer than the normal one. And this, I tell you, is going to bring some sort of hardship to who might want to travel from Wa to Laura or from Laura to Wa.
Sola, you've been engaging those affected by the latest developments. What have they been telling you?
Can you come again?
I'm asking what you've gathered from your interactions with those affected by the floods.
Yes, for now, those who are directly affected are the drivers. When you go to Goriyiri, that is where you see many of the articulated trucks parked there. And how to get food is a problem because it did not happen in the community. It happened outside the community. And the people have not taken advantage to prepare food and sell to them. So when you go, their major problem is that, well, they have found themselves there. So how to even feed themselves is a problem. But they may continue to be there as long as it takes the government to work on the rules. Other than that, they have no alternative. As for those vehicles that are already there, they have no alternative. Or they can't go back and go and use the other routes.
Sala, keep your eye on the development. We'll be coming to you at 7 for more. That's my colleague from the Upper West region, Sala Abdul Wahab. He's our regional correspondent. Moving on, for the first time in 29 years, Samuel Techi, a Ghanaian boxer, has won a medal in the boxing category of the 2020 Olympic Games held in Tokyo. And that was the only medal won by the Ghanaian sporting contingent. Reports show that 10 boxers qualified for the final Olympics qualifying series, but due to the lack of sponsorship, only 3 went to the Summer Games. Discussing Ghana's performance in the Tokyo Olympics, panelist on GBC News Current Affairs program Talking Points said other organizations must partner to invest in other sporting activities so that when football fails to get us some cups, rewards, and whatever, others will not fail us.
It's least financed sports. The challenge is that sometimes it's as bad, not criticizing it, it's as bad that sometimes you hear the athletes being told, okay, find money and go and come. When you come back, we'll see what we can do about it. It's been the story for, if I am not stretching it, perhaps the last 2 decades for most of the least financed sports. But it's a different story when it comes to football. Female participation was just Nadia Ike. We couldn't send a relay team because of issues with qualification, funding issues, so they couldn't attend the qualifying events.
There are 2 major streams of funding from a corporate organization. It's either treated as sponsorship or as CSR. Now, if it's treated as sponsorship, it is a direct marketing investment, which means that the corporate body will be looking for some outcomes from that investment. And to that extent, they need to satisfy themselves that whatever money they are putting into a sporting discipline, which is property, will use specific measurable outcomes. We must have something very tangible, relevant, and useful to attract the right kind of corporate support.
For these finance sports, they need a little bit of time to grow. And when you're growing, you naturally need people to support you until you can stand on your feet. Football is okay, they can stand on their feet, but we need a lot of the other side of the corporate social responsibilities, form of sponsorship to help our least finance sports to grow.
Congratulations to Techi and the team for winning that medal, the only medal in 29 years for Ghana, and we hope to get more for the nation. Earlier in the morning, a Hyundai Mighty truck driver escaped death when his brakes failed and he hit an electric pole at Reese Junction in Medina, near Medina in Accra. The driver, however, had his leg broken, while 2 passengers on the vehicle escaped unhurt. The truck, with registration number GS 839910, which somersaulted, was conveying alcoholic and non-alcoholic beverages from Adenta to Accra. Eyewitnesses say the brakes of the truck failed and the driver, in an attempt to avoid hitting the vehicles in front of him, hit the electric pole. The driver is currently receiving treatment at a hospital. More in this package. Stay with me. We'll be back after this break.